Bangsamoro. Ngayong araw ating makakapanayam ang Minister ng Ministry of Labor and Employment, Minister Romeo K. Sama. Magandang araw, sir.
Yes, magandang araw, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Sir, we want to know po, ano ba itong Coronavirus Disease Assistance Program?
Yes, actually itong coronavirus o COVID-19 assistance program that is intended for the affected former workers or affected former workers sectors in the Bangsamoro region. Ito ay nagtatrabaho sila sa mga private companies at meron silang employment relationship. So, ibig sabihin, ito ay mga regular workers in the private sector, private establishment.
Yes, sir. So, sabi niyo po na former workers po, sir. How do you identify, paano po ina-identify na mole yung mga former workers as their beneficiary under this program?
Of course, meron tayo mga criteria and guidelines na adopted in the Ministry of Labor and Employment. So pag-identify natin sa former sector, affected former sectors, it's of course the HR, the human resource of the company, the private establishment is meron silang record from their system, the HR na ito ay legitimate worker sila ng company at ito ay affected by the COVID-19. What I meant sa affected ay affected sila doon sa no work, no pay. Doon sa no work, no pay kasi nagkaroon ng skeletal position or flexible measurement management sila. So, doon sila nagkakaroon ng, doon natin sila na-identify at yun ang nisubmit ng company. So, upon submissions of the list of affected workers in the Ministry of Labor, so binabalidate po natin yan. So, the validation is based on the data submitted by the human resource of the company.
Yes, sir. Meron po bang specific qualification since these beneficiaries are former workers? Meron pa like tinitignan ba yung income or affected talaga? Yung only the affected workers lang yung tinitignan ng mga.
So yung affected lang base doon sa inisubmit ng mga human resource or management ng each company. So, yun ang sabi ko is kung identify nila na ito ay regular workers nila at affected sila doon sa flexible working arrangement ng company because of this COVID. So, yun po ay qualified po sila sa pag-avail ng CAP or COVID Assistance Program. So, itong CAP na ito is the local version of the CAMP. Because in the national government, the DOLI, the Department of Labor Employment, Labor and Employment, so meron silang CAMP. CAMP is COVID COVID Amelioration Measures Program. So unfortunately, yung CAMP nito ay hindi po kasama yung BARM doon sa budget allocation. So after we talk a series of talk with the national government why the BARM na hindi siya kasama sa budget allocation. So meron silang mga explanation. So until we discuss ito in the cabinet. So after discuss in the cabinet, so the MOLI we formulate this camp as a local versions ng Bangsamoro government itong COVID assistance program. So doon. After we conceptualize, then we yung mga establishment is from the BARM. So nag-communicate sila sa atin sa Ministry of Labor and Employment kung meron ba silang marireceive na assistance. So we explained to them na nagkaroon konti ng problem because the national government hindi binigyan ng allocation ng BARM dito sa affected na mga workers. So that's why we submitted our proposal to the office of the Chief Minister. So kaya nga medyo tumagal because dumaan siya sa proseso. Because, kasi itong program nito is wala siya sa budget ng Bangsamoro government, which this is a national program like the SAP. The SAP is yun dun sa affected informal sectors. So merong budget from the national through the MSSD dito sa BARM. But itong former sector ay wala siya. Hindi siya, sabi ko kanina, it's not included in the budget allocation of the central government. So that's why when we submitted the budget proposal to the Office of the Chief Minister, so dumaan sa proseso for kailangan meron siyang legal cover para kung paano siya bigyan ng allocation from the budget of the Office of the Chief Minister. Saan siya pwede siya get either sa contingency fund or sa QRF or saan. So the finance, so through the approval of the Chief Minister, so yun na, after complying all the legal documents, so alhamdulillah the Chief Ministers approved this COVID assistance program that is intended for more or less 12,000 plus affected workers. Merong mga 300 plus na establishment from the BARM covering the provinces of Sulu, Basilan, Tawi-Tawi, Lanao Sur, including the city of Marawi, and Maguindanao. We also included the 63 barangays and Cotabato City. So, yung po yung coverage ng program natin. So, alhamdulillah, last month is lumabas na yung na-download na yung budget last month. And our concerned bureau, because that program is under the Bureau of Labor and Relation Standard. Kasi sila yung responsible sa lahat ng mga establishment. So that's why sila po yung responsible mag-implement itong program, the Bureau of Labor Relations and Standard.
Yes. Since Minister, na-conceptualize na already na yung fund was already downloaded. May time ba tayo, tentative time, kung kailan matatapos yung pamimigay natin or pamamahagi ng assistance?
Yes, may time frame po tayo. We're hoping within this month, before the end of this October, ay matatapos na yung distribution or raisings of these funds for different establishment and individual applicants, so yung approved na affected workers. So in fact, we already started the releasing. Nag-start kami sa Maguindanao, ito sa SK, sa Islamic, sa Sultan Kudarat Islamic Academy in Sultan Kudarat. So, and Lamsang, then La Portera, and in Cotabato City, Arnur, and the other day is the Pagana. So, yun yung po natin. So, but ang system po natin doon sa releasing sa outside Cotabato City, So meron tayong money remittance. So nagkaroon ng memorandum of agreement with the Palawan. So para doon na i-channel sa kanila yung releasing. So meron lang kami mga requirements na dapat masubmit sa amin ng company ni Palawan, the money remittance. So yan ay ongoing na yung processing natin because we are fast tracking the release. So ang kuha natin dito is direct sa beneficiaries. Yung ma-receive nila. Hindi na mag-channel sa kahit sinong company. So, direct yung ko natin. The receive. So, individual po yung kanila. Ma-receive nila yung itong ayuda natin. Ayuda ng Bangsamoro government to the former sector.
Yes. So, thank you for that, Minister. Ano po, doon po sa reintegration program ng MOLE, yung hanap buhay para sa Bangsamorong balik manggagawa sa Cotabato City at Maguindanao. Kumusta na po yung program na yun, sir?
Yes, actually, itong reintegration program or balik Pinas hanap buhay manggagawa is meron tayong budget. That's a regular program of the Ministry of Labor and Employment under the Overseas Workers Welfare Bureau. So sila po yung responsible, itong bureau na to, doon sa reintegration program. So meron tayong approved budget for 1,500 mga overseas worker natin na itong reintegration program that is intended dun sa mga overseas workers na tapos na yung kanilang kontrata. So dito na sila. Then yung ayaw na nilang bumalik magtrabaho sa ibang bansa. So ito po yun yung criteria and qualifications na itong program nito. But nagkaroon tayo ngayon ng because of the return overseas worker. So kaalis sila, although hindi pa finish yung contract nila na pagtrabaho, but nakita natin na na dapat makonsider sila ditong ROF. But the problem, yung approved budget natin, it's intended only for the 1,500 for the areas from the areas of the farm, Cotabato City, Maguindanao, 63 barangays, Lanao Sur, Tawi-Tawi, Sulu, and Basilan. So, didistribute ito equally doon sa mga probinsya. Itong 1,500 magkaka-receive sila ng 20,000. But itong 20,000 ito, binago namin yung konsepto. Instead of dole out, ibigay sa kanilang 20,000. So, ang ginawa natin is bago nila ma-receive yun, at ito ay binibigyan mo na sila ng orientation through negosyo or business. Submit sila, tuturuan sila ng financial literacy, how to manage the business, how to operate the business. Then, magsasubmit sila ng proposal. So, the orientation, magkaroon sila ng workshop, then gagawa sila ng kanilang proposal intended for their 20,000. But ang ginawa natin dun sa 20,000, 15,000 para sa kanilang startup capital for their negosyo, and 5,000 for their mobilization. So, para sabi namin sa kanila, para at least for 2 weeks to 1 month, so hindi nyo magalaw yung capital niyo. So, pwede doon sa 5,000, pwede kayo magbili ng isang sakong bigas, at least hindi na ninyo magalaw. Para madali yung ROF niya, yung return of investment nila. So alhamdulillah, doon sa piloting namin, dito sa konsepto nito, is masabi namin na at least merong sa 100 na yung pilot natin is nag-engage ng kanilang negosyo is base doon sa monitoring, is kita natin successful. Maganda yung return. So, na-sustain nila. Hanggang ngayon is na-sustain nila yung kanilang negosyo. So, ibig sabihin, nung maubos yung kanilang negosyo, nung binili nila, then compra sila o nabalik naman nila yung negosyo. So, na-sustain nila yung kanila sa negosyo nila. So, that's alhamdulillah sa good indicators na kailangan maturuan natin itong mga overseas natin. Then, pangalawa, ito yung promotion natin for self-employment. Kasi ang problem natin dito sa atin, kaya nga ang mga kababayan natin, doon sila naghanap buhay sa other countries, masking merong sakripisyo sa kanilang pamilya kasi mahirap mahiwalay sa pamilya. Mahirap yung parents yung nandun nagtatrabaho sa ibang lugar, sa ibang country, then yung anak nila, maiiwan nila. So, mahirap na kuha yun. So, ang kuha natin dito sa our promotion is to strengthen yung local employment. So, dito sa local employment na to is alam din natin ang problem natin sa atin. We are now in the transition of the Bangsamoro government. So, hindi din ganun kadali yung promotion or the local employment. But itong initiative natin ito is at least makakontribute doon sa employment, yung self-employment nito, yung mga bawat isa, kung magkakaroon sila ng sarili ng negosyo, based sa national income and employment na at least na-address ng Bangsamoro government. So, alam natin na maliit itong 20,000. But kung mamanage siya, kay start siya, at least makatulong. Then, ang policy natin, so, sino yung successful sa program nito, in the future, inshallah, di muli, pwede dagdagan ng capital yung negosyo nila yun. So, kung makita namin na ito ay successful at yung owners ng negosyo nila, yung overseas natin, so pwede natin sila bigyan ulit, tulungan. So yun is yung on process na yung second batch, yung lahat ng mga requirements is na-submit na. So nandiyan na lahat on validation, yung process of validation, yung lahat ng mga applicants, yung mga papers nila. So, nandiyan na sa concern bureau natin. So, anytime, yung budget is meron nang nare-release na-download na sa office sa Moli. So, anytime, inshallah, start yung releasing for second batch.
Thank you. Minister, what about yung isa pang program ng MOLE, Community Emergency Employment Program. Ano po ba itong?
Yes, actually itong Community Emergency Employment Program, conceptualize natin ito because sa national, sinasabi niya, meron silang program na TUPAD. TUPAD is the livelihood program for the informal sectors. Ito ay short emergency, source of 10 days or 7 days na program. So, ang kanilang activity, yung for example ngayon, COVID is pwede sila maglinis sa kanilang paligid, either sa kanilang barangay or sa road and drainage, yung mga bahay nila pwede linisan. So yun yung program sa emergency. So, but base dun sa minimum wage approved by the Ministry of Labor and Employment or through the Bangsamoro Tripartite Wage Productivity Board. So, because meron na tayong na-approve, the Chief Ministers already approved the wage order natin sa BARM For Maguindanao, so approve wage order natin for 2020 is 300. For non-agri and agriculture is 290. And in Cotabato City and 63 barangays, meron tayong 325 na wage order na approve. So doon magbabase yung sweldo na. So itong SIP nito or Community Emergency Employment Program, wala ding budget ito sa national at wala ding budget sa atin. So nangyari noon is we agreed with the MSSD, the Ministry of Social Services and Development. So lahat ng applicants dito sa amin is ni-submit namin sa kanila. Sila yung nag-provide their sum. But medyo nahirapan because yung consolidations ng data, so meron na kasing sa kanila, meron na silang data, kaya nahirapan kung paano siya ipasok yung mga data. So now is, so merong the ILO, kausap kami, so tinanong sila kung pwede sila magkatulong dito. So alhamdulillah, so positive yung response nila, yung proseso, yung mga documents, although medyo matagal yung proseso. So now is inshallah, anytime within this month or next month is pwede na ito siya ma-implement sa 1,750 yung itong beneficiaries niya. But ang sweldo nila is allowance nila based on the minimum wage na approved ng BARM. But ang problem lang, course merong policy ang ILO na nagkaroon sila ng itong because of this situation, hindi rin makapunta yung kanilang mga staff, nasa work from home sila. So yung basulta, so hindi nakasali dito sa program. So ang kwan is LINAW, Maguindanao, Cotabato City, and 63 barangays. So itong program na ito, it's an emergency employment program. So sa 15 days working activities.
So, doon po sa this program is on process pa, no, Minister, but we want to know kung ano ba itong program ito, the Sagip Batang Manggagawa. What is this program?
Yes, itong Sagip Batang Manggagawa program that is intended for the child labor. Kasi marami tayong mga child labor. What is child labor? Kung makita mo minsan yung sa sikat-sikat or so ang naghahanap buhay sa kanilang pamilya o yung parents nila minsan hindi nila binabawalan ng kanilang mga anak na magtrabaho, maghanap buhay instead of papuntahin sa eskwelahan. So ang kuha natin dito program dito, so yun to prevent yung child labor. So, ang gusto natin sa kanila is dapat mag-aral sila. Then, meron tayong approved program dito sa gift nito na yung parents is providan sila ng December 20,000. Then, para sa startup capital nila, kanilang negosyo, para makatulong dun sa kanilang daily income at dun sa pag-aaral ng kanyang anak. So yun ang kwento is dapat yung anak is makapunta sa school. So meron tayong 20,000 na budget for them. So meron tayong target 1,500 in the 5 provinces in Cotabato City and 60 barangays.
Yes. Mr. Mark, are there any activities that we are expecting from the mole?
Yes, because meron tayong 3 bureaus. I have the Bureau of Labor, Relation Standard. So itong Bureau of Labor Standards ay meron divisions na conciliations and mediations, meron divisions on sorry. So meron division, okay, conciliation and labor welfare regulatory standard. So dito sa conciliations and mediation, so kung merong cases na merong dispute between the workers and the company or the management. So, the conciliations and mediation, so nag-facilitate po kung paano po yung settlement of that complex through SENA, single and so, ganun yung because hindi pa natin ipinasok yung labor relation, yung quasi-judicial power. Because in the national, merong National Labor Relation Commission. So, yung National Labor Commission, ito yung nag-handle ng mga cases na kung hindi na kaya through reconciliation, through mediation, so ipo-forward na sa yung dispute niya. So, through the commission. But ang dito atin, so ina-apply natin is conciliations and mediations. Kung hindi makaya, doon siya ma-forward sa arbitration committee headed by the director of the Bureau of Labor and Relation. Sa ngayon, so marami na tayong cases na nasisettle yung bureau nito, yung Bureau of Labor Relation through the Conciliation Mediation Division, yung mga merong mga problem yung dito sa Philippine Trade, kaya merong problem sa mga security sector, but sa isang dito sa Cotabato City, tourism management. So, nasisettle na, nabigay sa kanya, for example, kasi hindi nabigay yung kanilang sweldo. So, then nag-complain yung worker dito sa atin. So, pinapacilitate ng conciliations mediation division paano dapat yung rights ng mga workers is because our mandate is to protect the rights of the workers and also the management kung vice versa kung sana may problem. Then as of now, meron tayong problem sa matling. I think you know the problem with matling, so meron tayong mga kababayan na matagal na sila nagtatrabaho doon as kasaba grower. Kasi ang problem doon, dagdag ko na ito sa matling. Ang problem ngayon dito sa matling, base doon sa aming monitoring, aming research. So, ang problem, hindi sila workers, estimate workers ng company. Ibig sabihin, wala silang employer relationship. So, ang kulang nila doon, nagtatrabaho sila doon as cultivator. Cultivator sila doon sa farm, cassava farm ng members of the cooperative, yung owners ng lahat. Because ang ginawa ng matling is dinivide nila at binigay nila doon sa mga members of the legitimate workers. So ang problem, ito sila, hindi sila nakasama doon. So for more than 20 years, so hindi sila na regular workers sa matling. So meron silang mga demands because tama naman is for more than 20 years, so dapat man lang is meron ng napasok sa kanila sa matling. So yun ang mga sentiments ng ating mga kababayan dito sa matling. So now is pinapacilitate yung dialogue, kinausap na natin yung representative na management and the workers kung paano ma-address yung kanilang problem. But hindi ganun kadali because yun nanindigan yung management na hindi sila worker. So kasi kung hindi ka worker, so mahirapan ka. But ang natin doon, position natin so dapat magkaroon ng dialogue pa rin. So inshallah yung last na schedule ngayon, we will see kung ano yung magiging ma-reach na consensus. So naka-schedule yung ating Bureau on Consulation and Mediation. So magkakaroon sila ng dialogue sa October 10. So doon sa para ito neutral. So doon sa headquarters ng
Sorry
Marine
to
sila.
interrupt, sir. How many employers are affected?
Actually, di sila employers.
Ay,
Sa
workers, yes.
kasaba growers sila. Sa 55, base doon sa nasubmit ang bigas namin na affected growers is 55 sila lahat. So, ano mga activities natin dito yung of course yung Bangsamoro Tripartite Wedge Productivity Board, so sila yung responsible doon sa pag-determine ng wedge order. So alhamdulillah, on our assumption as Ministry of Labor, at the same time chairman of the Bangsamoro Tripartite Wedge Productivity Board. So nagkaroon ng consultation, then the board with the representative of the management and the workers. So nagkaroon ng consensus and decision to upgrade yung salary ng mga workers natin. So nag-increase yung salary nila. So alhamdulillah. Then dito sa natin, repatriation assistant division natin. So, marami rin tayo na facilitate yung Bureau of Overseas Workers and Welfare through the repatriation assistant division. So, kasi ang daming problem from the overseas. Ang daming pumupunta dito in complaints. So, yung anak nila, nandun na yung due respect sa inyo, mga kababaihan. So, nandun na yung sexual harassment, nandun na yung maltreatments and or the yung karumal-dumal na ginagawa sa ating mga overseas workers. So, meron ng namatay. So, meron ng lately, latest ngayon, 4 months, almost hindi siya pinapakain ng kanyang. So, binibigyan lang ng mga kanyang kaibigan. So, hindi siya pinapakain. Tinulong siya, lahat maltreation, lahat na sinasaktan siya. Then, nung mag-complain yung kanyang magulang dito, kapatid, so immediately, nagsulat tayo because ang problem natin, wala tayong power on the overseas or the foreign relation. So, kung natin to, nag-coordinate lang tayo sa OWA and DOLI. So, lahat ng complaints natin dito, ni-endorse natin yung problem, nire-request natin ng OWA to facilitate this case. So, meron pang yung mga namatay na, but alhamdulillah, facilitate natin. So, yung isang kwan doon, so alhamdulillah, last week was informed the family, nakabalik na yung kanilang anak. Ito sa kwan. So, at least na-facilitate na ng OWA yung repatriation niya dito sa atin. So, nandito na sa Cotabato City. So, actually, marami tayong mga programs. So, yun ang pinakakuha natin dito is yung problem sa overseas because of the illegal recruitment activities ng ating mga companies. That's why, as members of the parliament, so, currently the minister, so ang ginagawa natin dito, tinitignan natin yung ministry, anong kailangan niya na laws para may strengthen yung operations of the ministry. So, that's why we pass a bill, yung Recruitment Agency Act of 2020, yung to regulate the local and international recruitment agency operating in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Government to prevent yung illegal recruitment. So, yun ang causes ng problem sa mga kababayan natin because sometimes yung particularly our women, yung kababayan natin, misking hindi kanyang passport, So, minsan, yung edad niya, minor pa lang siya, pinapalabas na, pinapalitan yung kanyang pangalan at ang edad. Oh. So ganun. Kaya nga pagdating doon, so nagkakaroon ng problem. So, mahirap ilocate. Oh. So, that's why itong recruitment agency bill law natin, the BARM, is already approved by the Parliament and approved by the Chief Minister. So, ang kulang lang dito is we are now tapos na yung draft doon sa implementing rules and regulation. So, once na ma-approve nito, submit na sa akin, then execute na. So, at least mag-effect na itong natin, the implementation. So, ma-enforce na natin that all the recruitment agency operating in the Bangsamoro region be registered and accredited in the MOLI before na maka-operate sila. Otherwise, kung hindi sila mag-register, hindi sila mga-accredited ng MOLI, so pwede natin i-declare sila na illegal yung recruitment na. So, kung mahuli sila, at least batas yung magkuhan sa kanila because we will enforce this law, inshallah.
Thank you, Minister. No? So, mukhang tagal-tagal na. So, sir, last na lang, message to our viewers.
Yes, ang message na natin dito is, of course, maraming salamat sa Bangsamoro
Media Productions. Bangsamoro Media Productions.
Bangsamoro, that's Bangsamoro News Productions. Sorry, because it's my first time siguro na nagsama tayo kasi ang kailangan ng ating the Bangsamoro government is yung accurate, truth na information na parating natin sa ating mga kababayan because this transition period of the Bangsamoro government is the most crucial stage ng atin. So that's why we must to support the agenda of the Chief Minister Ahod Balawag Ibrahim para maging successful, maging success itong transition period of the Bangsamoro government. So because this government is the product of the decade-old struggle of the Bangsamoro people. So ito na yung natin, that's the right to self-determinations of the Bangsamoro is so na at least merong naging resort, yung struggle. So, as part of the MOLI, the Ministry of Labor and Employment, yung mandato po natin for the labor, employment, and occupations, inshallah, you already interpreted in our structure, the structures of MOLI, and now yung each bureaus, so meron ng mga programs to protect and to promote our employment because ang major problem natin na Bangsamoro government yung employment natin. So mababa masyado yun. So it's a cause of the poverty. So to resolve the poverty, dapat magkaroon tayo ng more employment, more promotions of local employment, yung local establishment that everybody is meron silang magiging income para sa kanilang daily needs, inshallah. So that's the dreams of the Bangsamoro government through the leadership of our Chief Minister Ahod Balawag Ibrahim.
Maraming salamat po sa pagpapaunlak ng aming panayam, Minister.
So thank you po. So assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Muli aming inaasahan nakapagbigay kaalaman, nakapagbigay linaw ang panayam na ito patungkol sa issue at mga usapin sa reyong Bangsamoro. Nor Hanifa Ragundo para sa isyung Bangsamoro.